Hollywood is a town of ghosts, not the spooky kind that rattle chains, but the ghosts of fame. Faces you know like the back of your hand, names that were once on the tip of everyone's tongue, spoken in whispers of adoration and awe. They were titans. Their posters were on our walls, their movies were our weekend plans. They were the center of the universe, and then they were gone, not a slow fade, but a sudden vanishing act. One moment they were burning brighter than the sun, the next they were just a memory, a trivia question. We've all wondered about them. What really happened? Was it a choice, a scandal? Or was it something else? Something baked into the very DNA of Hollywood itself? Today, we're not just asking where are they now. We're pulling back the velvet curtain to find out the real reason these 70s movie stars vanished from the Hollywood firmament. Ali MacGraw in 1970. There was no bigger star on the planet than Ali MacGraw. After the one-two punch of Goodbye, Columbus, and the cultural juggernaut that was Love Story, she was more than an actress. She was a phenomenon. Every woman wanted to be her. Every man wanted to be with her. She was the it girl to end all it girls, with an Oscar nomination and the world at her feet. And then she met Steve McQueen on the set of the 1972 Thriller. The getaway, the chemistry between McGraw and the king of cool was undeniable. She was married. He was a force of nature. It was a collision course. She left her powerful husband, producer Robert Evans, to be with McQueen, and at the absolute peak of her stardom, she made a choice. She effectively quit the business to become Mrs. Steve McQueen, moving to Malibu and embracing a domestic life. The mystery here isn't a scandal. It's a crossroads. Did she walk away willingly, choosing love over the glitz and grind of Hollywood? Or was McQueen's famous jealousy and traditional mindset a gilded cage? The truth is likely somewhere in between. She said herself that McQueen wanted a homebody. By the time their tempestuous marriage ended 5 years later, the momentum was gone. Hollywood had moved on. Ali MacGraw, the biggest star in the world, had become a ghost, a haunting reminder that sometimes the brightest flames are the quickest to burn out. By choice. Jan-Michael Vincent. If you could build the perfect 70s movie star in a lab, he would look like Jan-Michael Vincent. With his sun-bleached hair, piercing blue eyes, and athletic build, he was the quintessential California golden boy, and he had the talent to back it up. He held his own against Charles Bronson in The Mechanic, starred in the classic surf film Big Wednesday, and earned rave reviews for films like Bite the Bullet. He had everything, a future as big as the Pacific Ocean. So what happened? How did a star with that much promise end up a tragic footnote? The answer is as old and as heartbreaking as Hollywood itself. Addiction. The whispers started early. The on-set drinking, the volatile behavior, the struggles with drugs. For a time, his raw talent and good looks kept him working. He even found massive TV success in the 80s with Airwolf. But the demons were always chasing him. The vanishing of Jan-Michael Vincent wasn't sudden. It was a slow, public, painful erosion. There were bar fights, arrests, and horrific car accidents fueled by substance abuse that changed his face and his abilities. The roles dried up, the good looks faded, and the golden boy was consumed by his own personal darkness. His story isn't a mystery of circumstance. It's a brutal cautionary tale about how the Hollywood machine can amplify a person's worst impulses until there's nothing left. Corinne Black in The Gritty. Director-driven world of New Hollywood in the 70s, Corinne Black was royalty. She wasn't a conventional beauty, and that was her power. With her slightly offset eyes and unique, intelligent screen presence, she was the muse for the era's greatest. Filmmakers think about her filmography: Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, which earned her an Oscar nomination. The Great Gatsby, Robert Altman's masterpiece, Nashville. She was a critical darling and a box office draw. So why did she seem to disappear from the list so completely? Corinne Black's story is a quiet tragedy about the shifting tides of the industry. The very thing that made her a star in the 70s her unique, auteur-friendly appeal became a liability. When the 80s rolled in, the era of gritty character studies gave way to high-concept blockbusters like Star Wars and Jaws. The studios wanted bombshells and boy-next-door types, and Corinne Black didn't fit into their new, cleaner boxes. She never stopped working, but the A-list roles vanished. She became a queen of B-movies and horror films, always delivering a fascinating performance, but never reclaiming the spotlight. Her disappearance wasn't a choice or a scandal. It was the Hollywood meat grinder at its most cruel, deciding that her brand of brilliance was simply out of fashion. Tatum O'Neal in 1974. Tatum O'Neal did the impossible. At just 10 years old, she went toe-to-toe with her famous father, Ryan O'Neal, in Paper Moon and walked away with the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. She is still the youngest competitive Oscar winner in history. She followed it up with massive hits like The Bad News Bears and International Velvet. She wasn't just a child star, she was a bona fide movie star. And then came the silence. The story of Tatum O'Neal is the story of the curse of the child star, magnified to its most heartbreaking degree. Her childhood was, by her own account, a chaotic whirlwind of Hollywood excess, neglect, and substance abuse within her own family. The pressures of being an Oscar winner before you're even a teenager are unimaginable. As she entered her late teens and early 20s, the plum rolls dried up. She became more famous for her high-profile marriage to tennis bad boy John McEnroe and her own documented struggles with addiction than for her acting. Her vanishing act was a retreat, a desperate attempt to find a normal life away from the industry that had both crowned her and broken her. She's since returned to acting in smaller roles, but the supernova that was her 70s career remains a haunting what if? Gene Hackman, what a minute. You might be thinking, Gene Hackman? The man was a legend who worked constantly for over 40 years. And you're right, he didn't vanish in the 70s. He owned the 70s, from The French Connection and The Poseidon Adventure, to The Conversation and Superman. He was one of the most respected and prolific actors alive. He continued that dominance through the 80s and 90s, but then, around 2004, he executed the most successful vanishing act in modern Hollywood history. He just stopped. After his final film, Welcome to Mooseport, he quietly retired and never looked back. No farewell tour, no final interviews about his career, no guest spots. He was just done. For years, the mystery lingered. Why would an actor at the peak of his craft, still beloved and in demand, just walk away? The answer, it seems, is refreshingly simple. In a rare interview years later, he said a doctor had warned him about the stress on his heart. But more than that, he was just tired of the business, the interviews, the travel, the hustle. He had nothing left to prove. He'd won his Oscars, made his mark, and decided to spend his final chapters as a novelist and a private citizen in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Gene Hackman's disappearance is the ultimate power move. He didn't wait for Hollywood to forget him. He left before it had the chance. Christopher Reeve, this one is different. This one hurts. Because Christopher Reeve didn't vanish by choice, or scandal, or the whims of the industry. He was, in 1978, the face of heroism for a generation. When he put on that cape in Superman, the movie, he made us believe a man could fly. He had the classic good looks, the talent, the charisma. He was set for life as a leading man, and for a long time, he was. He continued to work in a variety of films throughout the 80s and early 90s, always trying to stretch beyond the cape. The vanishing happened on May 27, 1995. It wasn't his career that vanished, but the life he knew. During an equestrian competition, Reeve was thrown from his horse, shattering his first and second vertebrae. The catastrophic injury left him paralyzed from the neck down, unable to breathe on his own. The world held its breath. But Christopher Reeve didn't disappear. He was reborn. He channeled the same heroism he portrayed on screen into a new purpose. He became one of the world's most powerful advocates for spinal cord injury research and for people with disabilities. His story stopped being about a movie star and became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. He vanished from the Hollywood A-list only to become a real-life Superman, leaving behind a legacy far more powerful than any film role. So what is the real reason these stars vanished? As we've seen, there's no single answer. For some, it was a conscious choice or deliberate step away for love, for peace, for a life beyond the camera's glare. For others, it was a tragic fall from grace, a battle with personal demons that the pressures of fame made impossible to win, and for others, still it was the cold, indifferent machinery of Hollywood itself, chewing them up and spitting them out when they no longer fit the mold. Or, in the most heartbreaking cases, it was a cruel twist of fate that no one could have predicted. These faces, these ghosts of the 70s, remind us that fame is fleeting. It's a bright, hot light that can warm you or it can burn you, and sometimes. The most interesting part of a star's story isn't their rise to the top, but the mystery of their disappearance. Now, I want to hear from you. Who is the 170 star that you remember vividly, who seemed to just vanish off the face of the earth? Who did I miss? Let me know their name in the comments below and share your memories of them. I read every single one. If this trip down memory lane resonated with you, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It makes a huge difference. And be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation into Hollywood's greatest mysteries. Finally, if you know someone else who would love this, please share it with them. Until next time, keep watching the skies and the silver screen.